What's up, guys? Welcome in to somewhere in the middle of the Big 12 show here to play the fight song, where we bring you guys college football content each and every single week. Tune into our live Wednesday episodes as well as our Sunday recaps. My name is Jake. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. We are diving into all things Big 12 at this show, the best conference in all of college football. I love doing this each and every single week. If you are new to the show, welcome in. What we do here is we will always highlight players of the week from the weeks past. So week 6, we will recap week 6 and dive into some particular teams that I have some deep thoughts on. And then we do predictions at the end. We look on to week 7. Wild week in the Big 12 last week. Of course, we see some more upsets. Prediction wise, my record was terrible once again, but I should learn better, right? I mean, it's always something new within this conference, and I should stop picking the favorites when it comes to predictions. So when we get to that end, maybe we'll learn this time around. We'll have to wait and see. But our prediction segment is always brought to you by our partners at No Rivals. Shop NoRivals.com. These are the best hats in all of college sports. If you're a Big 12 fan, go check these guys out. They have a ton of options for you guys. And use the code PTFS at checkout. That's PTFS at checkout to get you free shipping. What we do at the end, if you guys let us know in the comments. So any of the 6 Big 12 games this weekend, give us a winner. Say Kansas State beats Colorado. Give us a score prediction, 30-17. If you go 2 for 2 there and you're subscribed to us, we will get you guys a hat at shopnorivals.com using the code PTFS at checkout. All right. Could be a quick episode. It's a packed episode. We got to kind of go through this as I am getting on a flight here in a couple of hours as I will be heading to Morgantown for Iowa State, West Virginia. Really looking forward to getting out there, seeing another Big 12 fan base. Say hello. Let us know if you'll be there in the comments. Would love to stop by and meet more fan bases within this conference because this is now I think this is my 5th Big 12 road trip that I have done. I enjoy it every single year. This is the best fan base in all of college football. Big 12 fans are super passionate. They love to kind of welcome in new people as long as maybe you're not the rivals, and they're super friendly. So really looking forward to that. But we have a lot to get to, and let's cover it first. Let's go players of the week. Got to start on the offensive side. A crazy week in the Big 12 and some of the upsets that happened, and this guy was the leader of one of those upsets. I'm finally excited to give a shout out to Taj Brooks. Taj Brooks is my offensive player of the week. 128 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a massive win over Arizona. Taj Brooks is running like the best running back in this conference right now. And as somebody who predicted that in the preseason in our Big 12 show, our Big 12 preview Play the Fight song, pretty excited to claim this one and puff my chest up because I had some bad predictions in the preseason. So Taj Brooks looks to be the best running back right now. And Texas Tech is kind of like that Undertaker meme where they're kind of rising from the dead when I think a lot of people wrote them off. This team is still undefeated in Big 12 play and seems like one of the front runners to be in Dallas in December. So shout out to Taj Brooks. Shout out to the Red Raiders. That was a huge win in Big 12 after dark last Saturday defensively. Let's go to the Friday night game. Another upset that happened in the Big 12. How about AJ Halsey at Houston? The secondary played really, really well against the Josh Hoover passing attack in TCU, and Halsey was kind of the leader of that group, picking it off Hoover twice. What a win for Coach Fritz in this Houston club who really needed it, scoring 0 points in their first 2 Big 12 games and then coming out and getting a huge road win as I believe they were a 16-point underdog, man. We'll dive into TCU in a bit in a kind of the week 6 recap, but let's shine some light on AJ Halsey and the Houston defense that continues to get better each and every single week. I said that this defense will create problems and keep them in some games, and it kind of came a little earlier than expected. So big win. Shout out to the Cougs. That was really awesome to see. Shout out to that defense. Shout out to AJ Halsey and Houston. All right. That's our players of the week. What we're going to do here is we will recap week 6, what we usually do. Last week, we did a temp check on every single Big 12 team. If you want to go check that out, absolutely go do. I don't think it's too dated yet. I kind of took what the vibe was on every single Big 12 team last week as we were kind of halfway through the season. Week 6, had a ton of upsets. A lot of teams right now, we're kind of figuring out where everybody stacks up in the power rankings. I think I will do a power ratings next week. I need to see a couple more games this weekend before I make some conclusions on where I think some of these teams rank. But let's cover week 6. The theme of the week in week 6 to me was, is it panic time? What I mean by that, we're going to cover a few teams. We're going to say, is it time to panic if you're a part of one of these fan bases? Kind of maybe you're not meeting season expectations, preseason expectations. Maybe you were a preseason favorite and it's not looking to be, or maybe you're just a team who thought you were easily going to get 6 or 7 wins, and now you're not sure if you're going to get 4 or 5, if you know where I'm heading with this one. But let's go into week 6 panic theme. The first team I got to start with, Arizona. Now, last week, I thought I said that the trenches on both the offense and defensive line for Arizona was getting better, and I thought it was good enough for them to be a title contender in the Big 12. And I think I still believe that. I really do. I think that the offense and defensive line hasn't looked too bad. I thought the defensive line looked pretty well last week, actually, getting after Morton. I know they gave up a lot of rush yards to Taj Brooks, but that's going to happen, I think, on almost any Big 12 team, because Brooks, again, I said, is the best back in this conference. So that's not really something to panic about. But offensive line lacked a little bit of push at times, getting stuffed on 4th down in the red zone when you go for it in the first quarter. If you're Brent Brennan against Texas Tech last Saturday, and the offensive inconsistencies is ruining this team's title chances. You have the best receiver in this conference, maybe the best receiver in all college football. Tech McMillan goes for, I think, 160 yards again. He had 8, 9, 10 catches. Can't remember on the top of my head, but he had a big game. And I know he had the big fumble at the end that kind of cost him the game. But at that point, Arizona really didn't deserve to be in that game at the end. Going down 18-3, a bad interception by Fafita to end the half, where I've said it, guys, like, he's relying too much on this one receiver right now. And you're saying, well, of course he is. He's the best receiver in all of college football. You just said it. I understand that. But I mean, look at Colorado. They have Travis Hunter, but they don't rely on just one guy. They have 3, 4 good receiver options, and I don't see it with Arizona right now. And I think that's really making Noah Fafita not play to the best of his abilities, because I'm not sure if he trusts other receivers on that team. The first interception was whatever, gets batted up in the air. They pick it off. That's not his fault. But the second one was glaring to me, because I don't know if there was a miscommunication between McMillan and Fafita. He kind of just chucks it in the back of the end zone. It's not even close. McMillan's actually running out of bounds, and Texas Tech picks it off before the half when you could have used points in that situation. It's not good enough. The only field goal, they get a field goal after a forced fumble from Texas Tech, and you need a touchdown there. It's just not good. They're not converting on any of these. Arizona actually ranks 115th in 3rd down conversion percentage. It's like at 31%. This offense doesn't stay on the field. They can't get a push when they need a yard, and they can't convert off turnovers into touchdowns. It's a disaster at this point. I would like to go and check. I didn't go and check the red zone percentage. I would probably think it's not very good right now. I'm sure Arizona fans have a better idea, but the defense looks to be legit in this league anyways. I think Davis is really good at corner. I think the defensive line gets better. I think they get more pressure than we kind of thought. But the offense right now is the problem. And did we really think that the offense was going to be the problem going into the preseason? You know, it's kind of crazy to see. And at this point, 6 games in, 5 games in, not sure where Arizona's at right now. I don't know if it gets better. I think you are what you are at this point. Conley ran the ball better, so there's some positives to take away if you're Arizona, but they're not converting points right now. This team is still good enough to get 8 wins, but this was a team that wanted to win the conference. I know that fan base set its goals out to win the Big 12, and that loss against Texas Tech at home really hurt them, and you have the offense to really blame for that. Let's move to the next team. I think this was probably the team everybody thought I'd pull up first. Kansas. Kansas was my dark horse to win the Big 12. I don't run away from it. I own it. I had them in my Big 12 title race. I said if Daniels was healthy, and I own up to that. But it's time to face reality if you're Kansas. And the question is, could this team really go 3-9? I mean, 4-8 kind of seems like the best outcome at this point, right? They haven't beaten an FBS team yet. They have a bye week. Then they get Houston next week, who that defense in Houston could create turnovers on this Kansas team, which has been the issue. I don't know if it still stands true, but I know a couple of weeks ago, Daniels ranked top 5 in all of college football in interceptions thrown. And it's just weird, man. Like, their point differential right now is plus 17, and they are 1-5. That's, yes, thanks to beating Lindenwood 48-6. But it just shows you where this team is at. They're losing all of these close games. They can't finish. Daniels is 124th nationally in completion percentage. It seems like he's getting better. I really think that. And I think this offense has legitimate dudes. Like Grimm and Arnold are good receivers. Devin Neal's a really good running back. Offensive line's a little shaky at times, but it seems like you need, as an Iowa State fan, Matt Campbell always says, you need the offense to play for the defense. You need the defense to play for the offense. And those two cannot coincide with each other right now. It seems like in a game where the defense is making stops, the offense just gives it away, turns it over, can't capitalize. And then on the other side, you look at Saturday and your loss against Arizona State. The offense was rolling. Offense was playing really well. You get 31 points, and the defense can't create a stop when it matters. So it's not that I think this team is one of the worst in this league or one of the worst in the country. It's just that they can't. I don't really know what the word is right now. They're combating each other and they're not coinciding with each other. They got to, I don't know. I don't know where you go from here. Obviously, a bowl game seems out of the question at this point, unless Lance Leipold turns it around. The offensive coordinator, Jeff Grimes, it's not working. And it's really too bad because they're decently healthy and they have skill position talent, but this team feels like it's going to end up being 3-9. And I don't know, Kansas fans, like, the theme is panic, but are you just giving up at this point? Or is it panic for the future? Like, you lose Andy Kotelnicki in the offseason. Is Coach Leipold the savior we always thought? Listen, as a guy who Matt Campbell had a terrible season in 2022, he bounced back. I trust Lance Leipold. I think he will turn this around. It's just at teams like Iowa State, at teams like Kansas, you don't always recruit at a national level, and not even close. And you're going to have these dips. But if Coach Leipold stays around like he says he will, maybe a bad year isn't so bad. So maybe it's not time to panic and you just regroup for next year. But who knows what the quarterback situation will be like. All right, next team. And I think this could be, if panic is, these next two teams I'm going to cover, panic is, it suits well. TCU. If this team misses a bowl game back-to-back seasons now, what's the direction you go with Sonny Dykes? I've been on the Reddit, the message boards, Twitter. It seems like Sonny Dykes is losing this fan base a little bit. If you're a TCU fan, let us know in the comments. I'm always open to hearing other people's opinions. But this is without question the worst rushing offense in the conference and potentially in just Power 4 play. This might be the worst rushing offense. They rank 117th in rushing offense. And when you get 2 interceptions out of Josh Hoover last week against Houston, you will not win football games. When you run the football that bad, and your quarterback gives the ball up when you're throwing 50 times a game, you will not win. And that's exactly what happened when you play a Houston team. Now, flip it to the other side. Defensively, not good enough. It's not even good enough. Um, it would be one thing if they were just a pass heavy team and maybe the defense can, get stops. This defense ranks 123rd in the country in third down conversion percentage on defense. They are not getting teams off the field. And that was exactly what happened against Houston. They ran all over you. Zion Chris looked like a top 5 quarterback in this conference last Friday night. And TCU couldn't capitalize. Anytime there was a bad turnover on the offensive end, good teams and good defenses respond and play for each other and try to get them off the field. And Houston converted what felt like every single time TCU turned the ball over. So the offense has its issues, but defensively, it's not good enough right now, which is crazy because I think I highlighted this a couple of weeks ago. That national championship run, you think of Max Duggan. I'm not thinking of the running back's name who was really good, who couldn't play against Georgia. TCU ran the ball. Like that felt like, yes, they were high flying. They had Quentin Johnson, but they ran the ball just as well as they threw the ball. And I know that Sonny Dykes is, kind of an air raid guy, up tempo. That's great. But even like Mike Leach's offense could get 4 yards a carry, 5 yards a carry, just because they put defenses on their heels. And they always had defenses backing up because they were trying to defend the pass. Then he would allow his quarterbacks to make checks and run the ball well. They rushed for 66 yards last week. 66 yards. Now, I've said it. Houston's got a good defense, but it's inexcusable, man. And what's happening at this point is inexcusable. They have a bye week. Then they go to Utah. Utah's got one of the better rush defenses in this conference. Maybe we finally see Cam Rising in a couple of weeks, and then it's over for TCU if that's the case. So how do they get off the mat? We'll have to wait and see, but you got to spend the bye week kind of looking at yourself in the mirror, and Sonny Dykes needs to kind of look back at himself because they're recruiting at a pretty good clip. Like they are one of the better recruiting teams in this conference, comparatively. So the talent's there. I don't want to hear that the talent's not there. You got Josh Hoover's a really good young quarterback. It's got to be better. And I think really TCU fans, I'd love to hear your opinion. I think it comes down to coaching right now. Not good enough. Not good enough. All right. Speaking of not good enough, woof. Just rough. Let's talk about Oklahoma State. A lot of people's preseason favorites to win this conference. What happened to this team, man? We knew that they were capable of slow starts. We saw it last year. I said they couldn't afford to have another slow start this year just based on the schedule because you had Utah, you had Kansas State on the road, and then you played a tough West Virginia team at home, and they're not waking up. It's not clicking. Let's start with zero. Let's start with Ollie Gordon. And it's too bad that he's not getting talked about this year in this conference or in the country. I will pat myself on the back. I said this guy wouldn't be first team all Big 12 this year when I know a lot of people had him as probably preseason player of the year in this league. Gordon rushes for 50 yards on 13 carries last week in a loss to West Virginia. Now you say, well, they're playing catch up, Jake. Like they were down 31-7 in the first half. Like they had to play catch up. They can't run the football. That's fine, I guess. But let's go back and look at last year, and let's go back and look at some of the wins that they had against Arkansas, against South Dakota State. He had 28 carries versus South Dakota State. He had 125 yards. He hasn't had 20 carries in any game since. And let's put that into context. Last year when they made that late season run, he had 25 carries, 7 out of the last 8 regular season games last year. The only one that they didn't the blowout against UCF, big shocker there. You look at the game against Arkansas, he didn't have 20 carries. They should have lost that game. This team legitimately should am I blanking on the top of my head right now? Their only win um should be South Dakota State. They shouldn't have won that Arkansas game. They lost Oklahoma or they lost to Utah, they lost to Kansas State, and they're not being patient. He's good enough. And I don't know if it's like I've always heard rumors that maybe he's kind of I don't know. I don't want to associate that with a college kid, but he gets frustrated easily if he's not getting the ball. It's basically what I heard. And I don't know if they're trying to prove a point, but at this point, it's not working. And I believe they have a bye week as well this week. And then they play BYU next Friday night. So things could go from bad to worse. Um, from what I've seen on Twitter, I think the Oklahoma State fans want Casey Dunn, the offensive coordinator, fired like immediately. And we haven't even gotten to the quarterback situation there. You have a seventh-year guy in Alan Bowman, who I thought we all had a pretty good idea on. Apparently, I was wrong because some people gave him the benefit of the doubt, and it's not working for him right now. They're asking him to throw the ball way too many times. He's in the bottom 100 in completion percentage. He throws multiple picks a game, and they look at I know Oklahoma State fans on Twitter want the Zane Flores kid, the kid from Omaha, Midwest guy myself. They want him to get a shot. It's said that he has a foot injury. Is that just an excuse not to play him? I don't know. But I feel like Garrett Rangel has not gotten a legit shot to really play quarterback. They always seem to throw him in when maybe the game's out of hand or Bowman throws a couple bad picks like in Utah, and they're like, okay, Rangel, go in. You're playing one of the best defenses in college football. Go in. Good luck. Go save us. Give this guy, use the bye week. Give him reps all week. Throw him out there in the first half against BYU. At this point, what do you have to lose if you're Oklahoma State? Because Alan Bowman's not good enough. And defensively, we knew this team could probably be a problem on the defensive side. And it's staying true. Trey Rucker's a really good safety for them, but I mean, he's more of a tackler, right? Like they can't defend anything in coverage. They're 113th nationally in pass yards allowed. They give up so much through the air. And then it's kind of funny, right? You thought that stat would get better because last week West Virginia rushed for like 370 yards on them, and they didn't even throw the ball for more than I want to say they didn't even throw for more than 200, and you still rank in the bottom 100 in passing yards. So now the blueprint's out on you. You already showed that you can't defend the pass, and now West Virginia just proved you can't defend the run either. So many issues with this team. I gave them the benefit of the doubt last week. I had them against West Virginia. Josh Pate put the clown nose on my on my nose for believing that this team could turn it around. I'm out on them. I think it is panic time if you're a Oklahoma State fan, because I don't know what's the vibe on Gundy. He's done so many great things for you historically. I know that there needs to be an offensive coordinator change, but dare I say, where do you go with the head coach? Not sure. All right, last but not least, a team I saw in Jack Trice Stadium on Saturday night, Baylor. I don't know if it's panic because it's pretty much over, right? It's like it's given up. Like, where does this team go from here? Another team that has a bye week. I kind of thought Dave wouldn't necessarily have a job, but maybe it's foolish of me to think anybody would get fired in the first week of October. Probably. The Baylor defense looks terrible. It's terrible. And who is calling plays for Baylor? That guy you see on your screen right there, the head coach. They gave up 500 yards to Iowa State last week, a team that historically doesn't run the football that well, rushed for, I think, 230 yards. Defensive line's not good. I thought it was better. Maybe Iowa State's offensive line's better than I'm giving it credit for, but it really feels like that defensive line is bad for Baylor. 0 sacks in the game, no pressure. I don't know. Is it panic time? I don't think so. Because I feel like this fan base has given up. Just look at the home attendance and who sticks around for home games. I don't think there's any more panic. I think it's until they make a change, this fan base has maybe given up. All right. That is my thoughts on week 6. I don't necessarily say we went a little negative there, but just a lot of teams who ironically have bye weeks this week have to look themselves in the mirror and they got to turn something around, or it could get really ugly for these teams because it's a 16 team league. It's a deep conference. It could change. Maybe these teams could come out of the bye week and turn it around. I think a lot of those teams I covered, a bowl game would be enough. I think Arizona's got higher expectations, but for those other teams I covered, I think a bowl game would be saving the season at this point. And we'll see if they can turn it around. All right, let's get to the fun stuff. We will lighten up the mood here. We have prediction time. Again, our predictions are always brought to you by our partners over at shopnorivals.com. These are the best hats in the game. Shopnorivals.com. Use the code PTFS at checkout and let us know in the comments. Does Utah beat Arizona State this week? Give us a score prediction. If you guys go 2 for 2, we will get you guys a hat at shopnorivals.com. All right. We are running out on time, it seems, here. We try to keep these at 30 minutes every single week. Appreciate you tuning in so far. If you have been, subscribe to the channel, like the video. Week 7. Let's run through the list here. Utah at Arizona State Friday night. That looks to be a fantastic one. Cincinnati at UCF Saturday. I know Orlando's not necessarily in the hurricane spot, but a lot of rain this week. Really interested to see if that game gets played. I haven't been given the thought that it won't, but the weather could really be a factor in that one. Arizona at BYU. I believe that is a noon kick in Provo. Interesting one there. I like where both of those teams are at. Iowa State at West Virginia. As I said, I'll be there. Looking forward to that. And then Kansas State at Colorado is your Big 12 after dark this week. Let's break down each one. Like I said, predictions were bad last week. That's what we bounced back for. We own it. I think we went 2 and 4. Completely whiffed on Arizona. Completely whiffed on who was the other one UCF, but I wasn't going to pick Florida on a Big 12 show. Come on. And then the last one, I'm looking back here on ESPN. Sorry. We missed on Houston. We missed on Houston and we missed on Oklahoma State. We had Oklahoma State in that one. So rough week. Had Iowa State, had Arizona State to make things a little better. So let's see if we can get it back this week. Arizona is a 4-point favorite on the road at Arizona State. This one's going to be a nice Friday night game. It's going to be old school. It's going to be smash mouth football. It's going to be low scoring. I haven't heard a word that Cam Rising will be playing. I'm kind of done assuming it at this point. So you get the Wilson kid playing quarterback from him. So Arizona State has the quarterback advantage in Sam Leavitt. I really do think he's the better quarterback in this matchup. Can Bo Scatabo get going against a really good Utah rush defense? I tend to think that it won't. Arizona State's kind of showed that it doesn't run the ball well against really good run defenses. So like I said, I think this one ends up 13-10 or something weird. I'm going to take Arizona to cover. Let's just take Arizona State to win. Sorry. We'll take Arizona State to cover and win. If it's that close, if it's 4 points. JP, our co-host at Play the Fight Song, had this as his underdog of the week. If Cam Rising's not playing, I really do think this is a good spot for Arizona State. And I love what Coach Dillingham's going for. And that team, they really good home crowd last week against Kansas. I think he's really getting this university and these students involved. And I think they love their football team right now when they just had the biggest dark cloud from the Herm Edwards era. So give me Arizona State. I'm going to take the home underdog in that one. Cincinnati at UCF. Again, we mentioned the weather. What will that look like? Can UCF get off the mat? They could have been in my panic theme. We could have covered them, but it is what it is. I thought it was a little crazy that they were favorites on the road in Gainesville. 2 starters transferred in the last week. I believe it was a kicker. Xavier Townsend, which absolutely shocked me. He was, I thought, one of the better receivers in the league. He's the number 2 option for them after Kobe Hudson, but man, I, I don't know. I don't know what the situation was there, but it's the modern day of college football, I guess. I'm taking Cincinnati plus the points on the road here. 2 reasons. Number 1, Cincinnati's one of the only teams in this conference that I think can both do both offensive things well. They can run the ball if they have to. They have multiple running backs that they like, and they like where they're at with their receiver. I think it's Xavier Henderson. Brendan Sorsby's playing really well. He needs to limit the turnovers. If this is a wet game from the hurricane and from the weather, I kind of like Cincinnati in this one. The run defense, the run offense for UCF needs to be better. They just haven't rushed the ball very well in the last couple of weeks. Force KJ to throw 25, 30 throws. He's not great from behind. So give me Cincinnati in that one. Arizona at BYU. BYU coming off of a bye. They're a 3.5-point favorite. I think Arizona's the more talented team, in my opinion, but they have to execute this week. You can't turn the ball over before the half. You can't have your best player fumbling on the last possession of the game. You can't miss 4th downs. You can't come up with field goals after you get turnovers. Those things can't happen. And you know what BYU is really good at? Executing on all of those situations, especially at home. Look at the Kansas State game. So give me BYU. Cougs fans, I apologize. I'm done doubting you. I think that this team, while doesn't run the ball well, I think Arizona needs to force this team to run the ball if they want to beat them. I just think that they're well coached. They don't make mistakes, and they're not perfect on offense, but maybe that's just their thing at this point. And we got to accept that. And I think this team is undefeated for a reason. So give me BYU, short favorite at home. Iowa State at West Virginia, night game. We do fan perspectives. I do my Iowa State fan perspective on this channel. If you're interested in that game, go check it out. Also, all of the new West Virginia fans coming on to our channel from that preview. We really appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully you're tuning into this one as well. But you guys have heard my 30-minute rant or breakdown on this game. And I think the Cyclones, I think they get it done here. I think the passing attack translates on the road. Iowa State's defense has been really good. Yeah, it's the Coal Rush uniforms. And it's the blackout night game. I love how West Virginia is physical and runs the ball, but I'm going to take the Cyclones in this one. But it's a trap game for sure. I will definitely admit that. Looking forward to going to what people let me know in the comments. Milan Pushkar Stadium. I think I got that right. I definitely didn't in our Iowa State preview. So looking forward to Morgantown. Last one. And this is the most fun game of the weekend in the Big 12 Conference. And it's just appropriate that this one's the Big 12 after dark. Kansas State travels to Folsom Field. They will play at Colorado, Coach Prime, Saturday night. Right now, I believe they are a 4-point favorite. So all of these games are under a touchdown once again. I mean, guys, it's week 7. Are we surprised at this point that the spreads are always close? No, that's why we cover this conference, and that's why we love it so much. This one, you guys, we broke this one down on our live show at Play the Fight Song in our live episode yesterday. So go back and check that out if you want a full in-depth breakdown. I'm going to try to keep this one a little shorter. Avery Johnson simply cannot play from behind, and you can't ask him to throw 35 passes. I think that's when Colorado's at its best. I think the secondary is the best part of their defense. Even when Shiloh Sanders isn't playing, I think I'm going to say it. Colorado fans want to probably, yell and scream and call me an idiot, but that secondary has improved since Shiloh Sanders has been out. And Travis Hunter's the best cornerback in college football. They have the Liberty transfer. I think it's Hodge. He's really good. This team wants you to throw the ball a ton. And Avery Johnson's going to need to make plays with his legs. The design runs are going to have to be successful if they want a shot on the road. Colorado already fared well against a run-heavy UCF offense, and that was on the road. Now they get K-State at home. I think the K-State defense is a lot better, so I don't think Colorado's going to have as much success throwing the ball as they did against UCF, because UCF's corners have just been torched, feels like the last 3 weeks now. Florida, K-State, and TCU, even in that comeback win. So the writing's on the wall for this one. This game's going to come down to turnovers and explosive plays. Like, can Kansas State limit the turnovers? Can they get big runs? They're going to need it. They lacked that against BYU in that night game, and BYU took advantage of all of it. The punt return, the forced fumble on Giddens, the multiple big plays that they gave up from turnovers. It's something that they might be learning from. And maybe this time around, going out west, night game, K-State learns. We'll have to wait and see. I said on the show I'll take Colorado to cover. I have Kansas State to win. Just trying to see if I want to backtrack on that. I will take K-State to win still. I'm going to take the favorite in this one. I probably should take the home underdog, but I mean, I took one of those already. So we'll take K-State to win. We don't pick lines on this show. We just predict winners because, as you can tell last week, that's already hard enough. So that is in the books. We have Arizona State, Cincinnati, BYU, Iowa State, and Kansas State in week 7 in the Big 12. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I've got to catch a flight. We will be back for week 8 next week. As always, our episodes come out each and every single week on Wednesdays or Thursdays. So check out that. Again, check out our live episode at Play the Fight Song last Tuesday. We broke down all of the games this week 7. Overall, the college football landscape, the games are awesome this week. So we are really excited to sit down and watch some more football. Till next time, appreciate you guys. My name is Jake. Comment score predictions below. Use the code PTFS at shopnorivals.com. We'll see you next week. And as like always, I have to sign us out. Let's play it.